everyone that's listening out there, first of all, you have to sort of shift your mindset. So I started honestly as little as like $200 for an hour. At this point now, I'm making anywhere between $700 and $1,000 US per hour. The point is once you show brands what you can do, once you give them proof of concept, it is going to be a matter of supply and demand. And let me just tell you, there is an incredible shortage of experienced and qualified live shopping, live selling hosts. So if you are a broadcaster, if you are an influencer, if you are camera confident, the time to get on is now. You can get on later, but then there's going to be 10 other former TV hosts or former broadcasters that have leveraged their talent and learned the skills to not only help brands that they love, but to make some extra cash.
Hello, hello. Welcome to Lights, Camera, Cash, the podcast where creativity meets cash flow. I'm your host, Nicole Sellers, and I'm here to help you unleash the superstar within and turn your creativity and charisma into a money-making machine. From TV host to 250 million. Today, I am talking to Dawn Chubai. She is a TV host, a live stream seller, and she is the founder of Live Selling School. Welcome, Dawn. How are you?
Hey, Nicole, nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to talk about live stream selling and how you took your traditional hosting and broadcast background and really elevated it to the next level. Talk about your background and your transition.
Well, I'll probably use terms that some of your audience might not recognize because time is not always kind, but I started in the TV industry 25 years ago now. And incidentally, I kind of fell into it. So I didn't follow the traditional route of going to broadcast school or anything like that. I was a jazz singer. I used to gig at the clubs and I would appear on morning shows to promote my gigs and my CD. And then fast forward to the day I was asked to audition to be back then when we called it a weather girl, because, I was well liked by the audience as a singer. And so I was approached to audition as the weather girl. I wasn't very good. I was actually quite awful. I did not make the cut, and which was fine because I didn't ask for the audition. They asked me, which was totally fine. I just was, obviously pleased that they thought of me. 3 weeks after that, they said, you know what? You've made it to the final round. And I'm like, huh? How does that happen?
Yeah.
And they said, you know what? We can teach you to do some things, but you brought something to that audition that it was just intangible. You just brought that organically, and I'm going to assume it was something to the effect of personality, charisma. So fast forward now 25 years, I clearly got the gig. And now I really thrive both with my media training business and my live selling school in helping people do what I have done and sort of fell into, which is to communicate through the screen and ultimately through live selling, live shopping, convert through the screen. And my journey, Nicole, into the TV home shopping world really just stemmed from the fact that I moved provinces where the shopping channel was, which was Ontario, Canada, when I moved from Vancouver for my husband's job. And I kind of just, again, fell into that job and learned to do it. So I'm definitely someone who sort of falls into things, but once I'm there, I catch on pretty quick.
Yeah, but I feel like falling into things you learn pretty quickly, but it takes you to the point where you're keeping up with the trends. You're using all the skill sets that you had as a weather girl, your charisma, your improv skills as a performer, and all the things that a lot of our listeners have. And I just wanted to share a stat with our audience real quickly. So according to Shopify, these numbers are going to blow your mind. The live e-commerce market size is expected to double over the next 3 years in the United States, from $31.7 billion in 2023 to just under $68 billion in 2026. Now, if you're a traditional broadcaster or host and you want a piece of this pie, Dawn, tell us how we can kind of transition those skills into live selling. What are a few of the things that we can just do at home that can really prepare us for maybe an audition in this space?
So I think first of all, you have to sort of shift your mindset. So I want to talk about what that feels like first, Nicole, from going to what I'm going to say the majority of the population and certainly the majority of the broadcasting industry feels about live shopping, TV home shopping relative to traditional broadcast. If you went to broadcast school, TV home shopping never even entered the conversation. You were either going to be a newscaster, you were going to be a reporter, you were going to be an on the scene, cutesy girl jumping on trampolines. And again, I'm aging myself, but that's kind of what it was. Maybe being the community reporter.
I did a live trapeze episode. Like I did a whole segment on trapeze. Like, don't ask me how that happened, but they were like, do you want to go to this fair and do a trapeze act? I'm sure. Okay. And it was fun. It was great. But yeah, I mean, live TV shopping never existed. Yeah.
No. And yet what was interesting to me, and first of all, I never had that preconceived idea that it was less than, or anything like that. I just thought, what a cool job. So when I had a chance to go and do it, I just started to realize, wow, there is so much to this that people don't realize. Like, and I know we've got a lot of regular TV personalities and possibly like me, award-winning broadcasters. So, hey, listen, I love those accolades as much as anyone, Nicole, but there is so much more than just appearing on the screen and selling stuff. The amount of product knowledge you have to have, the sales skills, and you brought this up earlier as well, the improv skills. There is no reading. Like I'm telling you, no reading on prompter. There isn't even a prompter around. And there are different camera angles and shots and transitioning one moment from a $25,000 tennis bracelet to a squatty potty, or to a piece of fitness equipment, or to a scarf, or to a purse. So you have to be so nimble. And on top of it, there are times when you don't even have a guest expert, for instance, or a co-host, and you may very well be talking and selling for 3 hours on your own while you are having a full conversation in your ear. And you broadcasters, you know what I'm talking about, your IFB, right? It's not just someone telling you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. They are literally giving you product quantity updates. You might be taking calls, all while you are talking to the camera and possibly the guest. So let's just say it's a lot more complex and more skill driven, as much as talent driven than I think most broadcasters realize. So I know a long answer to a very simple question, but the first thing is just to let go of whatever you think. Whatever you think about Thigh Masters and all that. This is a tough job, okay? But it was one of my favorite. Nicole.
But the adrenaline rush, right? And it's like you go from the traditional hosting or broadcast model with scripts, yes, you're preparing. It's a different kind of preparation, interviewing back and forth. And now you're spinning 10 plates in the air at the same time, multitasking, but that adrenaline rush. And of course, your preparation comes into play and your improv skills. All right. If you are loving this conversation and want to learn more about how to build a profitable brand and business as an on-camera personality, go to tvhostingacademy.com. I have all my coaching programs there, even our green room membership. And inside that membership, we meet twice a month, once for small group coaching and a second time with an industry expert who will be teaching a masterclass on a variety of different topics in the media industry. So go to tvhostingacademy.com, click on the green room membership, and we'll see you there. Back to the conversation. I want to talk about live selling school for a minute because there is nothing like it right now that I have seen that really dives into this space and this industry to help broadcasters and traditional hosts and broadcasters transition into this space. It's a very difficult thing to tackle. Talk about the program because it's something that is unique, but also very, what's the word? You can implement things right away. Talk a little bit about what you cover in the course.
Absolutely. So, my live selling school, I launched literally 2 years ago, almost to the day. And it was when I left my traditional broadcast world, literally a circumstance again of me moving back to Vancouver from Ontario. Unfortunately, the station I was working at really wasn't thinking as forward about the potential for live shopping that maybe companies like QVC or that Shop LC are doing right now with the live shopping. So it was a matter of me having to kind of come back and then to really realize what I brought to the table, which was a tremendous amount of knowledge and strategy in my back pocket. And so I wanted to empower not only brands, but most specifically when I created my course, the Learn the Live Selling Method, which I call my HSH method, Home Shopping Host Method, was really to empower influencers and ambassadors and ultimately people just like me, just like you, Nicole, just like anybody else that maybe is an on-camera talent, brings that part naturally, those really great communication skills, and to allow a way to monetize and continue on a career, which again, you can do this like till you're I'm going to say till you're dead. Like if you're 100 years old, I'm telling you, there is a space for you in live shopping, because as long as there are products for your demographic, there is a place for you as an on-camera host. So I created this course. It's 6 modules, 17 bite-sized lesson. There are action steps. There's a part of it about camera confidence, obviously, because there will be people that aren't quite used to being confident on camera. But ultimately, it's about the sales skills, which we're not necessarily reinventing sales. I mean, there are things like hooks and calls to actions and features and benefits and all that kind of stuff. But the idea of selling through the screen really is quite different. So if for anybody that's watching that thinks like they know what live shopping is, I want to make sure we always bring it to a very common ground, because it isn't just TV home shopping. It's the idea of bridging a gap between an in-person experience and an online experience. So if there were a physical store that you love going to, imagine having as close to that experience as you can have online. And so that means an online advocacy, an online educator, an online demonstrator. So Nicole, like I sit there, and when I do my course, when I created it, I wanted to make sure I empowered ambassadors who could be former TV hosts or celebrities or actors, of course, influencers, to be able to describe things in a way that makes someone feel like they've actually touched the product or tasted the product to the point where mouths are drooling, or that you literally know that when someone says something is soft, it's not my husband's idea of soft of a burlap sack or sandpaper, or Nicole's version of soft, which might be, silky. It is rose petal soft. It is kitten belly soft. And now we all have a common ground and something less subjective. So this course, what I created it for was to allow from start to finish the ability for someone to be able to sell through the screen. And then at the end of it, it talks about how to get brand deals and how to promote yourself and how to really position yourself in this new talent and skill set that you bring, which is live selling. It's more than just being a pretty face. It's more than just being an on-camera talent. It's definitely bringing a return of investment to brands who are hiring you. And ultimately, as we're seeing, and when you bring up that stat, Nicole, it really speaks to the fact that this is growing. I mean, we're starting to see job applications coming out and requests for people to apply for jobs as live shopping hosts.
Now, Dawn, a lot of our audience members want to know how to make money doing this. How do they monetize their influence? How do they jump into that and share a little behind the scenes on what you're making right now, if you are comfortable sharing it?
Absolutely. I mean, first of all, there is always the idea that you have to just work from an affiliate standpoint. And that is certainly an opportunity, where you've got your links and people can save money and you get your 10%. I never wanted to do that. I was used to making a salary as a broadcaster. And for me, that felt not right for me. So when I started my live selling school, and when I actually started as a live seller using my $250 million method, the one that helped me sell all those products on the shopping channel, I wanted to start with a negotiated host fee. And so I started honestly as little as like $200 for an hour, because you need proof of concept and you want to make it so that it's not a no for the brands that you work with. And so that's kind of where I started. That's not where I've ended up, but it's where I started so that I could get proof of concept. At this point now, I'm making anywhere between $700 and $1,000 US per hour. And often I have negotiated as well what I call a setup fee. So it's an opportunity discovery fee where I have time one-on-one with the brand to learn about the brand. Because for me, a lot of that work does happen on the front end. And so I kind of liked to have my time recognized for that. But I didn't want to make it prohibitive. And now I'm at a point where I'm making a fee and I'm earning commission on sales. So, I mean, is this the end game? Absolutely not. I have actually co-founded a marketplace called Approved to Shop as well with my friend Anna Allen. And we now have a roster of 4 hosts, some of extreme celebrity. We've got Vanessa, who was on Selling Sunset, and she's got almost 900,000 followers, so almost 1 million followers. And we've negotiated a significantly higher host fee for her plus commissions. And then we have other broadcasters, former TV stylists, people that have been used to appearing on air, making, somewhere again around that $700. So, is this guarantee? Absolutely not. But the point is once you show brands what you can do, once you give them proof of concept. And as time goes on, Nicole, especially with what we're hearing from Gary Vee and the news articles that talk about live shopping, every time Coresight and McKinsey and Company come out with a new report, it is going to be a matter of supply and demand. And let me just tell you, there is an incredible shortage of experienced and qualified live shopping, live selling hosts. So if you are a broadcaster, if you are an influencer, if you are camera confident, if you're a mom of 3 who just loves, talking about what you love and you have a community, there is absolutely a space for you in this place. And the train is going, Nicole. The train is going. So, the time to get on is now. You can get on later, but then there's going to be 10 other former TV hosts or former broadcasters that have leveraged their talent and learned the skills to not only help brands that they love, but to make some extra cash.
So Dawn, I love what you said about women not timing out. And in the industry, the traditional hosting or broadcast industry, sometimes they feel like maybe I have timed out. Maybe, I left the workforce for a few years to raise my children. Can I get back into this space? And the answer is yes. With live selling, you can. And Dawn is proof of that. And also negotiating your rates, negotiating what you're worth. How do we walk into a meeting with a brand and start that conversation? Because that's something that could be a little bit uncomfortable, but you've done it so many times successfully. How do you really start that conversation?
Yeah, I mean, as women in particular, we're sort of born feeling very uncomfortable talking about money and asking for money. And I'm not going to lie, like there is a point where sometimes you do have to do, and I know I'll probably don't at me, ladies, but it's, there are times where you do have to do a little bit of work for free because how else can you get on the radar if you're not putting yourself out there? So certainly I'm not, supporting anybody working for free, but does this mean that you might have to do a presentation on Instagram Live to show that you can sell product? And that doesn't mean you have to be doing it for a brand for free. What it might mean is that you might have to start positioning yourself as an on-camera expert, an influencer. I know that's a dirty word sometimes, but as somebody who is comfortable presenting product. And maybe it does start with your affiliate links. I know that there are a lot of wonderful affiliate programs that a lot of young moms and influencers like to leverage. And so maybe you are making a little extra cash while you're on Instagram with some of your affiliate links. But once you start to show the data, and so start to really track the data, Nicole, because then you have something you're armed with. So it becomes your resume. How much are people engaging? Are people buying from your affiliate links? Do people care what you talk about? And the more you can show that, the more you can ask for. But in the first parts of it, you might have to sort of suck it up a bit. And for my former TV broadcasters out there, I'm just going to rip off the Band-Aid. You are not making the money right now that you did in TV. You're just not. Do you have the potential? If you're a hard worker, if you're someone who puts yourself out there, if you treat this like a job, if you treat this like a career, if you treat this like a career that you're proud of, then I think the world is your oyster. And I continue to sell online. I continue to partner with brands. Every day I get someone asking, hey, can you either help me do this or can you do this for me? And the more you do this, everyone that's listening out there, the more you will start getting asked those questions as well. And that's what I want to do. I want to empower people to be able to do this themselves.
I love that. And I also love the fact that you've been there, done that, where we have all been. So you've been in our shoes. You know what it's like to work a 9 to 5, sometimes a 9 to 9, depending
a 5 to 9.
Yeah, depending on the network or station. But let's talk about the prep work that goes into a show like this. The spontaneous show that we always think is like, oh, it's so off the cuff. She's great at improv, but there's so much preparation time that goes into that. What does it look like for your current show that you're working on? I know that you created one as well with a client of yours. What does that time look like, and what does the preparation look like for you?
So yeah, it's the prep that allows you to play. And when it looks spontaneous, when it looks easy, it means that you're really good at your job. And that's the case with traditional broadcast as well. That's something that, we're often told is, wow, your job looks so fun. And it is. And oh my gosh, it looks so easy. I could do that. maybe, like it is a lot of prep. So for instance, I sell for a brand called Joylux, which is a female intimate wellness brand, specifically targeting perimenopausal and menopausal women. That is their customer avatar. So my prep really happened a lot on the front end. So yes, there's the product prep, right? Learning about the brand story. Why did this product come to be? Who's it for? And then it's really starting to educate yourself about sort of the state of why we need a product about that. So, now the research becomes a little less about the product itself, because now I've done 8 or 9 shows with this brand. So now it's pretty plug and play, right? It's like making a recipe a million times. You know how to make this. You don't need the recipe anymore. But that doesn't mean there's not still prep that happens. So now what I do leading up to my shows is I research like what is happening in the world. Oh, great. Okay, it's Menopause Awareness Month in October. Great. Now I can work with that. How many women go through menopause every single day? Okay, 6,000. Great. Is there new data? Are there new conversations? Yes, there are. Halle Berry has created a product as well for menopausal women. Great. Now we've got more amplification. Now we've got more in our toolbox. And I think, Nicole, in that prep, a lot of times, yes, it's everything you need to do to present alone. If you're lucky to have a co-host, then that means you share the load. And often, maybe as the live shopping host, you take on the role of the housekeeping person, which is telling everyone how to buy, where to buy, the urgency, all of the gamification and all of that. But honestly, it's really also about being so well versed in not only the product, but the topics surrounding the product. And most importantly, and I go through this in my live selling course at livesellingschool.com, is the why. Why this product? Why do you need it? Why are you going to unload $700 on this product? Why will it change your life? Why now? Once you're able to answer those questions, like they are literally like someone asking you what you had for lunch, then you've done enough prep. And then it's not done, Nicole, because then you want to make sure you're constantly auditing your shows and looking at your data and looking at how you can improve. Because I personally believe no matter how good we are told we are, and we're used to, as on-air talent, we're used to people patting us on the back and our ego gets stroked all the time. We love that. But I tell you what, the numbers don't lie, and professionals practice, professionals prep. And when you do that, you will see the results, and so will the brands. And then you will be in demand and be able to really negotiate those higher fees and have a lineup of people willing to pay them.
And be open to learning all the time. You are not at your peak. Nobody is ever at their peak. Because the trends are changing so quickly, we need to keep up with that and also continue to learn. And that's why I'm so excited about Live Selling School. I am actually taking the course. I cannot wait. I have that traditional broadcast background, and I can't wait to transition more into live selling too, because it is such an incredible space to break into. The boom is happening. I don't want to miss the boat. I think, all of our peers should really jump onto this. And I'm going to leave a link into the show notes for Live Selling School for anyone who wants to join us in this venture. It's really exciting. And Dawn, how can everyone find you?
I am really easy to find. Honestly, if you Google my name, you're going to find YouTube videos, all sorts of things. But I'm on social media at Dawn Chubai, pretty much everywhere. And you can find me at livesellingschool.com. I work one-on-one with brands. I also work one-on-one with talent, but my course is a nice, done at your pace. And I'm so glad that you're going to be a student, and I expect a very fast graduate of Live Selling School as well, Nicole, because
Can't wait.
what, in these early stages, that is going to be a differentiating factor for anybody as talent out there on what you're able to do and what you're able to say you can do, very legitimately backed by my $250 million in product sales method.
I love it. I cannot wait. Well, thank you so much for joining us and all of your wisdom. And for those of you who are Green Room members in TV Hosting Academy, Dawn's going to be teaching a masterclass this month. So I cannot wait for that. That's going to be really exciting. If you're not a member yet, go to tvhostingacademy.com, click on the Green Room membership, join us there, and we will see you all next time. Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you so much.